Hey, what's going on, guys? So, uh, I've covered this, I think, in some of my other videos on law stuff, which, if you look on my channel, there's probably a little playlist tab that says gun law stuff or something along those lines. And I think I've covered sales of guns in there, but there's a thread I read on one of the forums that I'm on here having to do with private sales of guns and some kind of a trend going on. So I figured I'd mention it because it seemed interesting, and it's something that seems to be going on because everybody's buying every gun out there as quick as they're hitting the market right now. So that's private sales and whether or not to go through an FFL. For context, federally, any FFL that sells a gun has to run your NICS, or like our state uses PICS, which is their version of their background check version. Any FFL, anytime they sell a gun, has to go through that. As far as private sales go, there is no requirement that you have to go through that. You can if you choose to for certain guns in your state. Now, in Pennsylvania, all handgun sales have to go through an FFL. So I can't personally sell anybody else a handgun, with a couple exceptions. We're gonna ignore that for right now, without going through an FFL. Long gun sales, that means ARs, AKs, anything like that, except for short-barreled rifles or pistols of a brace. Bolt guns, lever guns, shotguns, single pump, semi, any type of long gun can be sold privately between two individuals, or given between two individuals if you know somebody really nice, without having to go to the FFL for the background check and without having to fill out any kind of 4473, the paper you fill out for the gun sale. So there's no registration, no background check, nothing if you don't want there to be. There were some people complaining online today, asking why all these sellers. There is a sales forum on there for selling guns online. Same as if you go to Arms List or Gun Broker, you can sell a gun privately. They're asking, why are all these sellers requiring that you go to an FFL to buy a rifle when it's not required by law? And I can see the reasoning behind it, because there are a lot of new gun owners out there, a lot of people that you don't know that are going to buy something online. So figured I'd put my personal spin on this. Personally, to me, if I know you, I'll sell you a gun. If I know you're not a prohibited person, I know you live in my state, I know I'm not violating any laws, I'll hand you the gun, you hand me money. I know where the gun went. I don't really care. That's one way to do this. It's a gradient, though. Like, some people I know, kinda. I mean, they're not a friend of mine, but I know them from being in circles around gun shows and gun shops, and I know them from online communities I've been part of. They're a known entity. I know they live in my state. I'm pretty positive they're not a prohibited person, so I would sell them a gun. But I would probably require a little bit more than I would with a friend of mine. So you can do a bill of sale saying so-and-so bought this gun on such date. Here's what he paid. It's basically a receipt for you and the buyer. And you can check things like, do they have a carry permit? Well, if I check to see if they have a carry permit and they do, they're not a prohibited person, or at least I'm more satisfied they're not a prohibited person than without checking that. I could check their driver's license to make sure they live in my state. So long gun sales between states, you can't do privately. It has to go through an FFL. So like my state, if somebody came up from Maryland or down from New York or over from New Jersey, I can check their driver's license to make sure I'm not illegally selling a gun to those people. If I don't know the person at all, then maybe my best course of action is to go to the FFL and have them deal with the background check. That creates a paper trail of, I'm selling this gun through the FFL. So it's going to go from me into the FFL's book to the other person. Okay? I absolutely 100% know that the gun is no longer mine, especially if I bought it legally online or at a gun shop or something and it's already in my name. There's already a record of that gun. There's a record of sale saying, I guess this gun shop sold it to me. So if it's found at a crime and they pull the records from gun shop, they're going to say, hey, that person sold to Black Cat Outdoors. That gun went to Black Cat Outdoors. Let's talk to him and see if he still has that gun. Maybe he committed the crime with it. By doing it that way, I'm creating another record. When they go to check that, it's going to say Black Cat Outdoors sold that gun to X. So it gives me a level of separation, and I don't have to explain anything. It also covers your butt to make sure that they are a person from your state and that they're not a prohibited person. That's basically all you're worried about. So I think it could be prudent in some instances. Now, I know some people are going to get pissed off at me for this and, bitch and moan. I'm not saying this should be a law. I really am not. I don't want it to be a law that you have to go through a background check. That's a universal background check law. I fully do not support universal background check laws. They're stupid. They don't work. I don't think background check laws work the way they work now very well, to tell you the honest to God truth. But it's what we're dealing with now. So if I want to create a way for me to have separation from somebody else and not risk a lawsuit or risk the cops come knocking on my door, these are the ways that you can mitigate yourself. So I'm thinking the reasoning that there's more people requiring the FFL transfer is simply because there's a lot more buyers out there that people don't know anything about. So the best way to cover your ass is to go to the FFL and say, hey, I don't know this person at all. So let's see if he has a background check problem, or let's make sure he's part of my state. Again, it's all in what you're comfortable with. Like I said, personally, it's like anything else. It's a situational thing. I'm not going to say absolutely 100% that I wouldn't sell somebody a gun without going to an FFL, or I would require going to an FFL. I don't sell very many guns. But the point of the matter is, that's your cover your ass moment. So I'm going to do what's best for me. And if the buyer doesn't want to do that, well, then they can go buy it from somewhere else. That's freedom right there. It should be a freedom for you to choose the way you want to sell your firearm. Okay? The government shouldn't be involved in that. You should be able to choose what you want to do. If you want to run a full background check on somebody, that should be your right. If you want to be able to say, hey, this guy I've known since high school. I see him every other day. Or I've worked with this guy for 30 years. I see him all the time. I know who he is. I know he's not a felon. I know he owns other guns. You should be able to say, hey, give me the money. Here's your rifle. There you go. Should be able to do it with pistols, but that's a whole nother topic. If you want that discussed and the problems with that issues, let me know in the comments. I'll make a video on that too. As of anything else, if you hate what I said right there, or if you don't understand it, comment down below. It's my, this is all a subjective thing. So I think we can all agree that universal background check laws, I think, are stupid. But having the ability to do background checks on people, I think, would be a good thing. So agree with me, disagree with me, tell me I'm an asshole. That's all down in the comment section. You're more than welcome to do that. I may respond, I may not. You never know. I try to respond to comments as much as I can, but if all you're going to do is call me an asshole, I'm not 100% sure I'll respond to you, other than maybe to say the same back to you. So, guys, if you like this type of videos, you like any of the type of videos I do, let me know down in the comments, because that helps get me, bumped up in the YouTube algorithm thingy. I don't understand it that well. Also, like and subscribe to my channel if this is something that interests you. I've been gaining some subs lately, but could always use a few more. That also helps get the word out about stuff when I do important videos and not just these. So, guys, have a good weekend. Have a good afternoon, evening, whatever it is in your particular area. Let me know what the laws are like in your state down below if you want. And I will see you all later. Have a good one.